Hi guys! Okay, so in today's chapter, we're going to read some more correspondence between emails between Wes, Celeste, and Gia. And we're going to discover something that Wes confesses that Celeste isn't going to be happy about. Is it betrayal? You as the reader decide. And we're also going to learn about a very interesting dream that Celeste has that sheds light on what really happened to her brother Adam. It's about to get interesting, so let's get started. Chapter 13, The Betrayal. Gia, thanks for telling me about Ezra. Things are starting to make more sense now. I couldn't help but ask her about him. Don't worry, I never mentioned our conversation. She already knew I suspected something. The mistake that I made was talking to Oakley about it. That girl is looking for reasons to talk me out of liking Celeste. Anyway, after realizing Oakley wasn't the best person to share this with, I felt like I needed to talk to someone who actually cares about Celeste. On Sunday, I was over at the house, and Celeste's dad and I were flipping burgers on the grill out back. He started dropping hints that he would love to have me as a future son-in-law. So I dropped hints back that I would love to be his son-in-law. Then, of course, that led to a conversation about Celeste, which led to me sharing him my concerns about Ezra. I really hope I didn't open Pandora's box by bringing it up, but I figured he is her father and he really should know about it. Plus, I would rather he bring it up to her and the therapist so I don't have to. I'm finally at a place right now with Celeste where she really seems to trust me, and things are going really good. I don't want to screw things up. The good news is Ezra isn't real, so I don't have to worry about him anymore. The bad news is, now that I've told her dad, I have this uneasy feeling that my good intentions may backfire. He didn't seem too happy to hear about it. When you write her, will you put in a good word for me? Thanks, Wes. Wes, glad things are going better. If there's any advice I can give you to not ruin a good thing, it would be to keep Oakley out of the picture. That girl doesn't have your best interest at heart, trust me. As for Celeste's dad, that might have been too much information. It may have been better to tell her mom instead. Seeing how he already knows now, if I were you, I would do all I could to tell him that her issues don't bother you. He's the type of man that would be more worried about losing you than helping her, which is why he may approach her the wrong way about it, out of fear that it may scare you off. Celeste hasn't mentioned anything to me about it, so that means that Mr. Day has yet to bring it up. I really hope the two of you work through this because I think you both would make the cutest couple. Good luck and never hesitate to reach out to me. Gia. Celeste, I'm so glad to hear that your grandma is moving in. I think it will be a good thing for your whole family. That's cool that Wes is sticking through the church thing with you. What guy would do that just because? He must really like you. As much as I miss being there and hanging out with you guys, I really am having the time of my life here. I arrived in Cochabamba, Bolivia, that's the funniest word to say ever, today. It's so funny how everything shuts down here for lunchtime. I had fried cheese and chorizo, and it was super delicious. My favorite food so far has been anticuchos, this really yummy marinated stew meat on skewers. They sell it outside on street carts mostly. I first tried it in Peru, but I've heard they have it here in Bolivia too. The people here are so nice, and my Spanish is really coming along. It looks like we'll be teaching English again and working closely with a local after-school program. I've made some great friends so far, and it's been a real eye-opener as to how lucky we are to live in America. We have so much. Still can't wait to hear how your next appointment goes. Keep me up to speed. Love, Gia. Gia, it's been so fun looking at your pictures and hearing about your adventures. Still, I miss you more than ever. A lot has happened in the last couple of days. You're not going to believe this, but I kissed Wes. Well, he kissed me, and I didn't stop him. It was so unexpected, yet it felt so right. As I replay it back in my mind, I feel like a giddy little 6th grade girl. To think that I'm 22 and just had my first kiss is a little embarrassing to admit. Wes found out, and I think he really just wanted to be my first kiss. It was like some great achievement for him. As much as I enjoyed it, I have to admit that as it was happening, I was thinking about Ezra. I couldn't help it. He just popped into my mind. Halfway through, my mind was back on Wes, but I felt bad, like I had just cheated on him by thinking about someone else. When it was all said and done, I was happy that it was Wes, even though Ezra was in the back of my mind. Then I began to feel bad, as though I had just cheated on Ezra, and felt bad again. I'm so confused. If anything, I should be on cloud 9 for finally having kissed my high school crush after all these years, and happy that I finally kissed someone, period. But I have this strange, solemn feeling like I have betrayed 2 people I really care about. I know there are people in the world with much worse problems, so I'll leave it at that and quit whining. About the dreams, I continue to have them. As a matter of fact, last night, my dream seemed to pick right up from the previous dream. This time, I was led to a room full of familiar-looking people. Even the room itself looked familiar. There was a large table and everyone was gathered around it. The funny thing about it was there were no chairs. I understood that people here never felt tired, so chairs weren't needed. They were more for decoration if anyone had them. I was about to be shown something very important on the table that everyone was looking at, and then the room grew quiet as everyone looked at the door. My guide told me that there was someone very important who couldn't wait to see me and had an important message for me. He asked if I'd like to see that person now. I agreed, and the door opened. As I looked up, my heart swelled with joy when I realized who it was that I saw. It was Adam. I ran to him and we embraced. He was full of light and life, like I have never seen him before. He was so happy, and he was wearing what seemed like white pants and a white dress shirt. He told me how good it was to see me. I was so happy to see him that I was in tears. He said that he had been very busy working on our family and that he needed my help. I told him I would do whatever he needed. He then said, "I need you to tell Mom and Dad the truth about my death." He then walked me over to the table where I could look in and see events of the past, present, or future. It was like some kind of portal that had the appearance of a swirly cloud. As I looked in, I saw Adam's death playing out like a video. I watched as he went into the garage, climbed into his truck, and turned it on. He noticed the window down in the back and tried to close it, but it was stuck. He began to play around with the other windows, trying to figure out what was wrong. He looked tired and stressed. I saw that he had not slept the night before. Then I saw him fall forward and slide sideways onto the seat. He had fainted. I understood that it was a combination of stress and no sleep. The exhaust began to fill the garage and the inside of the truck. It was a matter of minutes, and he was no longer breathing. As time went by, I then saw my dad open the door and run over to the truck to turn it off. I could see the panic on his face as he tried to pull Adam up and shake him. I could see his thoughts and feel what he was feeling. It was incredibly intense, and my heart ached for his pain. The vision then cleared. Adam then turned to me and said, "Tell them the truth. It was my time to go. Tell them I'm happy and I'm close by watching over them." Then I woke up. Gia, I don't know what to think about all of this. It felt so real, and I want to believe that it was, but at the same time, I can't help but wonder if my mind is just manifesting my thoughts from the day. Maybe it's trying to paint a happy picture as a way of dealing with my fears and anxieties. Who knows? I haven't said anything to my parents yet, but I will when the time is right. Thanks for being such a great friend, and I hope you have fun in Bolivia. Love, Celeste. Now the next chapter coming is a very heavy and intense chapter. This is sort of the climax of the book. And from here on out, it continues to get more intense. So buckle up and join me next week for Chapter 14, Tail Lights.